Well, before Harry quit as a working royal, probably Harry's relationship with his dad was probably, was very good. They were very close, probably closer than William and Charles. So, it all came as a bit of a sad development when he decided, many people think, throw all his toys out the pram, wanting to get what he wanted, and decided to set his own life up. But he still wanted to be part of the royal family, which the king, now the king, and then the Prince of Wales, and the Queen said it was impossible. So obviously that led to an estrangement between them. I think initially it was fractured because I think a lot of the time Prince Harry was looking for financial support to deal with all the payment for his security and all these sort of things that was going on. And so it was rather fractured, but there was still contact. Then, as Harry himself said, the king just stopped taking his calls. And I don't think it's got much better since then. I think there's been barely any communication. And so this decision to come over, it was something that he took upon himself to do. And it's good in a way, because I think it's broken down some of those barriers that were beginning to build and you couldn't get rid of them. Well, I think the situation of Harry coming is not all about, it must be worse than people were thinking in terms of the king's diagnosis. I just think he's a long, long way away. He's realised his father is ill. His father's no longer this indestructible character. And, he just wants to give his dad a hug. And I think anybody in any relationship, with their father-son relationship, can actually appreciate that. And what is good in a way is that he's reaching out. And I think that just shows a lot. It does show that he's an emotional guy, but it just shows that he's reaching out and hoping to get somebody there that will support him. Like, clearly the king has seen him for half an hour. It doesn't sound very long, and it is a bit of a short meeting after coming all that way. But at least it's a start. The king will have gone to Sandringham where he's just going to rest up. I don't think he needs any dramas or long drawn-out conversations. I just think he probably needs a bit of peace and quiet. Focus on the affairs of state, read all these papers and make sure that's all functioning, which is his constitutional responsibility. And then, dealing with the Prime Minister, things like that. But I don't think he'll particularly want any family dramas. He'll just want maybe a piece of quiet, maybe a bit of painting, maybe a bit of reading, other than these constitutional obligations. I think that the William and Harry relationship is... there's no trust there, and I don't think until there's trust there'll be any chance of a reconciliation. I think that, as I say, I think that this battle of the brothers, and maybe a ceasefire, whilst he's here. I mean, but I don't think he's here very, very long. But there's going to be no peace treaties, and there's not going to be any peace between the two brothers. I think that ship has sailed. If the king wills to pass, I sadly don't think it would bring them back together again. I think that William would have needed his brother before then, and rather than when they unveiled the statue of their late mother, I think that you can see that they were together in doing that, but they certainly weren't as one as they used to be. And I don't see Harry ever coming back as a working royal or there to support William if he was king. I don't think the king would want him. I don't think William as king would want him. I think the game with Meghan, she's really made it clear that her focus would be on the children. It's a question of whether the children, being very young as they are, would be necessarily there. She could be there to support Harry, but I mean, at the moment, the reality is we're just hoping the king gets well. And this is very speculative. I mean, I think that there's a good chance that with the right medical treatment, we won't have to worry about that. But as for Meghan coming over, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Look, I'm sure everyone privately in the dead of the night have regrets and thinks about things, but he very much had a very clear agenda and a game plan that he laid out, and he followed through to the letter. It's no good him looking back and thinking, if only I did this, should I have done that? But yeah, I think he probably will regret the path he took, because really, he was born into a very privileged lifestyle that his rank and responsibility afforded him, but that is because he has to take on responsibility, and he chose not to. And the consequence is that he will be out.